What is going on, my dudes and dudettes? It's showing you the SNS Serpentarium. Today we're just going to have a quick little chat, guys, about what you should consider before you get a giant snake. If you're new around here, guys, make sure you subscribe and destroy that notifications icon. I'm doing daily videos, and if you like the video, obviously like the video. So just moving on quickly then, guys, we're going to talk about giant snakes. Obviously this isn't a giant snake, this is a little female special that I've got. She's doing really well with me, growing nicely, and hopefully I'll be pairing out to my clown this season. So getting straight into it then, giant snakes. If you go into a show and you see these little snakes, you know, called retics or Burmese pythons, alright, don't be fooled into thinking that because they're quite cheap they're easy to care for. That is not the case. These snakes are giants. They really are giants. They you know, they'll definitely get upwards of 10 feet when it's an adult, for sure. No matter if it's a male or a female, definitely 10 feet, maybe over 16 foot, you know, depending on the sex and stuff. Alright, so you know, it's nothing to joke about, really. For those of you that know that, though, well, good on you, really. Right, but with a giant snake like that, guys, it can actually be quite dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, and if the snake turns on you or anything like that. So the danger factor is there, if you don't know what you're doing, that is. So you do need to bear that in mind a lot when thinking about these snakes. And not only that, guys, alright, but buying the snake is the cheapest part, really, believe it or not. You can get a normal retic for like 50 quid, and the same goes for a Burmese. But then a couple of years down the line, you've got to spend a couple of £100 on the setup, and you're looking at, like, you know, 10-20 quid a month as well to feed the snake. So they're really not cheap in the long term. And you know, as I always say, the bigger the snake, the bigger the poop, right? So you've got to bear that in mind. I mean, you know, you've got these massive poops to deal with, and it's just, it can be a bit of a nightmare if you're not fully prepared for it. So you really, you know, these snakes aren't for everyone. You really do have to be fully prepared to keep one of these snakes. She's just wrapping around my neck a little bit. Obviously I'm in no trouble because she's a little ball python, but she's actually really strong for it. Fucking hell, sorry for swearing. Oof, I can't get her off. Bloody hell. Right, I got her. There we go. So you can imagine how much trouble I'd be in there if that was a Burm. Do you know what I mean? I'd be in a lot of trouble there, but with this, no trouble at all. You just get it off, simple as that. So that's just worth bearing in mind. Obviously that's a good sign as well that this snake is actually really healthy and in good condition. How strong she is. Even at 1700 grams, she's really lean and muscular. So that's just a testament, really, to the way I keep my animals, really. I mean, I do get a little bit of hate about how I keep my animals, but they're obviously healthy, because otherwise she wouldn't have given me that much trouble to get her off, being such a small snake. Anyway, moving on, back onto the giants. So if you think you're prepared to take on a 12-foot snake, alright, or whatever, you know, 10 foot, 14 foot, wherever the case is, if I were you, the best thing to do first is to go to a local shop or a breeder or anyone that's got an adult Burm or retic, and spend some time handling it. Maybe volunteer at a local rescue to learn some off them, and you know, get some hands-on experience with these giant snakes. I'd say that's the best way to do it, really. And you may even decide, look, I'm volunteering at this rescue, I'm getting lots of time with these giant snakes. Do I really need one myself if I'm, if I'm here helping out and actually spending time with these amazing animals? Do I really need a pet one myself? You may decide, or you may decide, look, this snake is too big for me to handle. I don't have someone else that can be in the room with me when I'm handling it, so it's not for me. I'm gonna quit. I'm not gonna do it. And that would be a really sensible decision, really. I've personally handled, I've held a 9-foot retic a couple of times, a 10 or 11-foot retic a couple of times, and I've held a 14-foot berm. And I can tell you right now, them retics, they're no joke of that size, and obviously the berm's not, but I mean, a 9 or 10 foot retic is a lot more work than what a berm is, definitely. I wouldn't want to get a 15-foot retic out of this sort of stage, to be honest. In my keeping, I wouldn't be able to handle that at all. I can hardly handle this ball python, yeah. I can't get her off. Oh Christ. She doesn't normally do this. I don't know why she's decided today that I'm not her friend. Ugh. Really strong, right? She's going on my arm for the rest of the video. That's it. That's it, miss. No more trying to kill me. You can hold on to my arm and I'll hold you out like this so everyone can see you. Yeah, so sorry about that again, guys. Another reason why you shouldn't get a giant snake. Not without anyone in the room anyway. You can see how strong a snake this small can be. Alright, so you can't imagine how strong a snake 10, 20 times the size and weight of this would be when it's all lean muscle. So that sort of just proves my point, really. These snakes have a massive muscle to weight ratio and strength to weight ratio compared to us. We really are we're not very strong, to be honest with you, as creature wise. I mean, if you take a 120-pound chimp, that's like 10 times stronger than an average man. Do you know what I mean? It's stronger than the world's strongest man. So how, we're nothing really in that department. What we've got is this and nothing else. So please use this when thinking about getting a giant snake. Another thing to consider, obviously, we've discussed the size and actually handling them. Another thing you really need to take into account is how much space they need and they take up. Really, for a giant snake such as a retic or a berm, really, people say 6x2, but I don't think that's big enough personally. Not for mainland. Alright, I personally, the rule I go by, and this is an absolute minimum rule, is well, actually a few breeders have told me this rule, but I would use this as a mandatory minimum. So if you've got a 6x2, what you do is you times the width by the length, okay, and that's how big of a snake you can keep. So you can keep a 12-footer in there. I wouldn't keep anything bigger than a 12-foot, and really, for me that's a little bit small for a 12-footer personally. And if you've got an 8x4, 8 times 4, what's that? See, it's big enough for anything then, by that rule. Alright, you're not going to get a snake that's going to outgrow that. I mean, 30-foot, 32-foot snake, that's not going to happen. So that's the sort of rule I would use personally. As a minimum, that is, though. Alright, I would probably try to go as large as possible with these giant snakes, guys. I mean, you look at a mainland retic in a 6x2 and you can see it's too small. Okay, that cage is not big enough for that animal, especially retics where they're really active. It's not so bad with the Burmese, but retics, they really do move around a lot, and it's just not fair in the animal. I mean, people complain about rubs and stuff for ball pythons, rubs being the plastic totes that we keep them in. But the tubs I use, the boa breeding tubs, they're huge, and people have got a problem with that. but then you don't see people complaining as much about a massive retic being kept in a 6x2, even though it's a much more active animal and it's got much less room compared to its body size. Do you see what I mean? So there's different ways of looking at things, and for me, these giant snakes, they're amazing. They really are amazing, but they're not for everyone. You know, for every 10 person with a Burma or a retic, 10 people even, sorry, with a Burma or a retic, I'd say probably one of them can actually keep one properly. And that's not to say that you personally, whoever's watching, if you've got one, that you are not keeping it properly. Okay, I obviously don't keep them. I'm just trying to get people to think twice about getting these animals. You know, can you actually take it on? Are you really going to provide the best home for this animal? So with that in mind, guys, if you are married to getting a Burm or a retic, maybe look into getting a dwarf or super dwarf, but go with a reputable breeder though. Okay, don't get it off any Tom, Joe, Dick or Harry. Alright, go with someone reputable. Ask to see the parents first. If you're going for a Burm, dwarf Burm, I would go for a pure dwarf Burm. If you're going for a retic, you're unlikely to find any pure localities now, but I would still recommend that. And if you are if you're gonna get a cross, go for a 75%, and you want it to be a Calator or a Madu. The other localities tend to get a bit bigger than those, and then hopefully then they'll stay under sort of 8 foot if it's a male for sure. The dwarf Burms won't get anywhere near that. They have got a bit of a bad reputation, the dwarf Burms, but at the end of the day, you're keeping a more advanced snake. Alright, it's better to get bitten by, you know, a 7-8 foot dwarf Burm than what it is to get, you know, bit by a 16-foot mainland. And to be honest, the dwarfs, especially the Burmese, they're probably more pretty than the mainlands because they got that really busy pattern to them, and I really rate that. So yeah, if that's what you want to do, guys, just make up your own minds on it. Do as much research as you possibly can, as with getting any snake, but keep in mind there are dwarfs about, but just make sure you're getting a legitimate dwarf off a reputable breeder, and then you'll be absolutely golden. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said, if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe, drop us a like, and smash that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.